Welcome to the latest BRM and Traction DVD presentation, and we're here in Macclesfield at the headquarters, I suppose, of the Macclesfield Railway Modellers.
No, District Railway Modellers.
I knew I'd get that
MAD
wrong.
RM for short.
MAD RM, Macclesfield and District Railway Modellers. And my host is Andy Clayton, and the layout we're featuring is very well known, and deservedly so, Runswick Leamside. Now, this is a large exhibition layout, very, very successful. I photographed it, I've admired it on many, many occasions. And tell me, Andy, it's based in the northeast, obviously.
Yep, correct. It's based on the Leamside diversion. For people that aren't familiar with that part of the country, it was the original route of the East Coast Main Line. They then decided they were going to go through Durham.
Yeah.
And obviously across Durham viaducts, but obviously the Leamside route was left in. So it actually branches off the East Coast Main Line just north of Ferry Hill.
Right.
And then carries on up through Sherburn and then up through Peelaw Junction and comes out at Washington.
So regains the current main line there.
Yes, and then you can get into Newcastle obviously via Peelaw Junction.
Yes.
That way.
So you've assumed then that the Leamside line was kept open, because although it still exists, it's now mothballed.
That's correct, yes. Like I say, we've used a little bit of modeller's licence to the fact that it was upgraded and with an increase of freight, and the signalling was upgraded and was kept open. And we run the layout as if the East Coast Main Line was shut for works on Durham.
So it's a Sunday diversion or a weekly diversion or whatever?
Weekend diversion or whatever. So we see sort of intercity trains running up the Leamside route, large freight movements up the Leamside route. As if it was still open.
Yes, because one of the interesting trains I've seen is a Class 91 and Mark IVs, which is Class 47 haul. Because
Correct.
Of course that set would stay together, wouldn't it?
That's right. Obviously the Leamside route hasn't got overhead wires on it. Obviously the East Coast Main Line has. So if we're taking the fact that a diesel loco will be attached to the front end at somewhere like Darlington, and then we'll take it up to Newcastle. So it's a diesel haulage over the non-electrified Leamside route.
So how long has the layout been in existence then? I mean, I've seen it must be a few years ago now for the first time.
It was debuted in 1996.
Really?
Yes, as long ago as that.
12 years old. Well, it's still going very, very well.
And still not finished, as all good model layouts are.
They never should be.
No. So we originally conceived it in 93. It took us 3 years to get it to an exhibitable state.
But it was originally the Macclesfield Model Railway Club then?
Correct, yes. We were all members of the Macclesfield Model Railway Group, but because of the size of the layout that we wanted to build, the Macclesfield Group didn't really have space.
So how big is Runswick Leamside then?
32 feet long by 11 feet wide.
So quite a size.
Sizable.
And, well, very much a modern main line. When I say modern, I mean the modern image is a bit of a sort of tenuous thing now. You've sort of cut off, just at sectorisation before privatisation?
Correct, yeah. We're post-sectorisation, pre-privatisation.
So late 80s, early 90s?
Correct, yes.
And you kept to that?
Yeah. We don't go beyond 1993. Any locos you see running or liveries that are running on the layout shouldn't be 1993, early 94 at the latest.
Yes. Now, it's only 00. I say that advisedly because looking at this track, this isn't out-of-the-box track, is it?
Correct. It's fine scale 00. So obviously you can buy an out-of-the-box Bachmann loco and run it straight on the track. Obviously,
so you've made the track. The main lines I see are laid with concrete sleepers. Yeah. So they were individual components.
The timber sleeper track you can see is all SMP. That can be bought straight out of any model shop. The concrete sleeper track is actually C&L sleepers.
Yes.
It's Pico rail and Pico panroll flips.
Flat bottom rail.
Flat bottom rail. Yes. And what we had to do, because we couldn't find any concrete sleeper track that suited our requirements, we had to build it as half track.
Yeah.
So we built a jig, put all the sleepers in, cemented all the panroll clips down on one rail, laid it. And then Aubrey, who built all the points as well, which we'll come on to in a second, then went along with his back-to-back jig and cemented the second rail in place. Took quite a long time.
But it is remarkably effective. I'm certainly not knocking Pico because I see every inch in the fiddle yard is Pico, and it is wonderfully reliable and robust track. But without a doubt, it does make a difference. One other thing that also impresses me is this is dirty. I don't mean dirty in the nasty sense, but even freshly painted locomotives would get a sort of dust and brake dust and muck around them. But this is all sort of uniform. It's a bit grubby. It's a bit, well, look, exactly the way it would be.
That's right. I mean, obviously the clean issue that BR had at the time wasn't particularly brilliant. So locos did, especially freight locos, did tend to get particularly grubby.
But even ones that are cleaned, I mean, you get exhaust marks on the roof and then brake dust.
Absolutely.
And I take it then that most of the rolling stock is proprietary modified, because I've seen nothing here, and I never have, that's just been popped on the track that someone's bought.
No, we decided, it was one of the main things that we decided when we were planning the layout, that we didn't want to run out of the box stuff on the layout. We all wanted to have a go at detailing, we all wanted to have a go at weathering, and it's just basically what you see now is an accumulation of 15 years experience and work to get it to how it is now.
So how many people are involved with it now?
There's eight people in the group.
And they all contribute with the rolling stock and the
absolutely.
locos and coaches and wagons and things?
Some more than others.
And what about, it looks to me an overall very high standard, I have to say. It's all homogenous. So did somebody set a standard and then everybody had to reach it, or were you all brilliant from the word go?
No, not at all. No,
Not like me.
no. I think one of the good things about our group is that we're all extremely close. We're a very close group. One person would do something, particularly like myself and Aubrey. Aubrey would do a particular model, and I'd think, that's very good, that. I'm going to go one step better next time. And that's how we sort of...
So a bit of competition.
Absolutely. A healthy competition,
yeah.
Egged each other on.
That's brilliant.
And of course you shared tips with each other like you do, and other modellers when you go to exhibitions, and of course we pick things up from other modellers, from other layouts as well. It's not just stuff that we've done ourselves,
But every time I've seen this at a show, there's always packs of people. I mean, irrelevant as to what period or gauge or scale, it's always highly entertaining.
It's a good point.
Now, I was able to count 23 roads in your fiddle yard. So, but that doesn't mean 23 trains. It's at least double that, is it, presumably?
It can be, yes. We've got 10 roads each way for each main line, and then 3 roads for the branch. Some roads on the main line have got 3 trains in.
Yes.
3 shorter trains. Some roads have got 1 train in, like the MGR rate. It's far too long. It's a scale length train, so we can only get that 1 train in that road.
So you've got well in excess of 30 trains then?
Well in excess of that.
Yeah, I'm not going to count them all, but we'll see on the DVD there are very, very many.
Yeah.
So it's entertainment. I mean...
That's what we decided.
Yes.
When we were designing the layout, we wanted a layout that was fun to operate for us, that was going to challenge us to build, but we also primarily wanted it to be able to take it out to weekends, to people to stand in front of and enjoy watching trains.
So the philosophy is, for most of the time, even though there's loads and loads of details, I have to say, that the eye can rest on, you'd expect a train moving most of the time.
Most of the time. Obviously, with the size of the layout it is, you might go 30 seconds without seeing something moving, but we always endeavour to keep something moving on the front of the layout, and you can actually stand in the front of the layout as a fair paying customer and stand there for 1 hour and you won't see the same train go past.
Really?
Yeah, that's the amount of stock we've got in the film.
Well, I stood in front of some very famous layouts for an hour and not seen anything move, and we've also stood in front of some and it's the same train whizzing round time after time.
Absolutely.
Certainly not in the case of this. Now, everything I've seen, and I say I've seen this many times at exhibitions, seems to run exceptionally well. Is there anything special in the control department then? It's not DCC?
It's not DCC, no, it's straight 12 volts DC. We also, when we were designing the layout, said that one thing that we picked up from years of experience ourselves and looking at other layouts is we wanted quality running.
Yes.
Because people, I think, come to a show and they expect to see that. And all we do is we have a clean track, clean wheel policy. So we make sure the track's all clean before we start and make sure the wheels on the locos are all clean, and that's quite an important thing, that.
Yes. And another thing I suppose that you've been able to exploit is that, and I noticed this reporting in the magazine, that the modern mechanisms, I mean, please don't think I'm knocking Lima, but they used to be pancake motors and they went if you turned and they went slowly if you were lucky. Have you had to do anything to any of these to get this level of performance?
We've got a mixture now. Obviously, it's the superb variety of people like Bachmann, Helgin, Hornby. The mechanisms, they're going to absolutely superb nowadays. However, we do still have a lot of Lima locos on the layout. Now, people are quite amazed when they see these Lima locos going round that are running smoothly. And here's a Lima loco coming up here now. This is one of John Rawlinson's. It's a class 37. It's got a standard Lima pancake motor in that.
Has he tinkered with it?
It's got extra pickups on it.
Yes.
It's well oiled. The wheels are clean. The tracks are clean. as you can see. Smooth as...
But there is no doubt the latest Bachmann Hormy Helljan and stuff. I mean, when we get it in for review, I take it up to my test track in my workshop, and it's just like silk.
Absolutely, straight out of the box.
Macclesfield.
Yeah. Yes,
it's a silk town, isn't
absolutely.
it? You've got that in, yes.
Yeah, no, you're right, absolutely. I mean, it's one thing that struck us, particularly with the Bachmann stuff. You put it straight on, and it doesn't need running in. It's smooth straight.
But you're not thinking of replacing the older stuff. I mean, certainly there's no need when that runs round so well.
I mean, at the moment, you get into probably personal tastes. I mean, I think personally, a very well detailed Lima 47 can still stand up against the Bachmann or a Helljan one. That's my own personal view, and I think a few of the others on the team have got the same view.
But there's no way I could say, well, that obviously belongs to that stable, that's Helljan, or that's because it's so much better. I mean, that's what I say again, everything is so uniform, so beautifully uniform.
Those two locos there, for argument's sake, that's a Helljan 47, that's a Lima 47.
I suppose you could, if you scrutinise that.
If you scrutinise it very closely, yes.
A little bit fatter.
Because they're a little bit wide in the gauge, the Helljan 47.
But
overall look of them are superb.
And certainly on a scheme like this, then those sort of minor details, for want of a better description, don't go noticed.
No, not at all.
But it's not just the locus and rolling stock. I mean, you've obviously got some good architectural modellers.
Yes. Again, that's something that Aubrey's done a lot of on the layout, really, is the architectural model.
You better mention one or two others as well.
Yes, I
suppose. Because Aubrey won't appear in front of camera for obviously good reasons.
No, we all play a part in the layout. Everybody plays a part in the layout. My side of it is pretty much the scenic side. I do pretty much all the scenics, the greenery and stuff like that. Aubrey's seems to have taken it upon himself to stretch himself and do a lot of architectural modelling. And a lot of the buildings draw inspiration from the northeast.
Yes, I've noticed.
I mean, obviously we're up at the shed end of the layout at the moment. Aubrey scratch built this shed.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit of licence. It's based on Buxton shed, not one in the northeast.
Well, I wouldn't know.
But he scratch built that. Now, down the other end of the layout, and I'm sure you'll see later on in the video, we've got a cluster of houses that was taken from Ferry Hill. Now, we've used Ferry Hill as pretty much as a base for a lot of the buildings on the layout.
Yes.
So we went up, did a lot of photography, had a really nice day out, and Aubrey scratch built a section of houses, and he's made a fantastic job.
But again, they all fit in. They're sort of slightly downbeat. I mean, it's a very depressed area, isn't it?
The northeast is, some of it is, yes. There's places, I mean, obviously...
It's a wonderful place there.
It is. I mean, the Leamside route itself is a very pretty route. There's some very pretty places up in that particular area. I mean, it's like a lot of areas, Tony. The Middlesbrough's an industrial area.
Yes.
There's not a lot of scenery around Middlesbrough at all. Thornaby itself, again, you know.
Oh, I know it well. My relations were up there.
Right.
Hence my interest in not this period, I guess.
No,
because I'm old, but
yeah.
You might run a steamer, though, I'm told. Aubrey said he's got an A4, so you never know. You
might see an A4 running. Yeah.
But as I say again, the performance, reliability. Now, we hope to have this at one of the BRM shows. It was at the Doncaster show, wasn't it?
2004, I think it was.
So look out for this at either at Harrogate or Peterborough in the year or two to come. But I really have been impressed. And I'm not being patronised, because it definitely isn't my period.
No, I know.
I'm not anti-diesel, but I'm a steam man. But every time I've seen this, it's worked impeccably. When I'm able to see it, because usually there's half a dozen guys' backs in the way with rucksacks and big bottoms.
I'm the same opinion as yourself. I will stand in front of a layout, regardless of period, if it's entertaining.
Got to work.
And it's
got to work.
If I can look at a layout that somebody's put a lot of work into, I'll stand and look at it. It doesn't matter the period, to be honest.
Anyway, what we're going to do now is have a close look at many of these trains and the details. I think you've explained everything marvellously. Very, very well done. I'm not being patronising, but thank you
very much.
Ever so much.
No problem.
Anyway,
Welcome to Macclesfield.
Let's get the thing on the road.